What's up, Rockstars? Today we're going to be talking about how CMON has lost its title. It's grown lazy, it's grown old, it's grown fat, and it can no longer compete with the rest of them. Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. Alright, so let's just dive right in. Look, this is Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin by Awaken Realms, and they are sitting at almost 2 million in 2 days. And if you would like to compare, Dune War of Arrakis didn't make that much in its entire lifespan of being on Kickstarter, even though they added a whole bunch of stretch goals and all that other kind of stuff and expansions and whatnot. Now, how could something with such a big IP, such a hot IP right now, like Dune, flounder compared to a game that is its own IP, its own invention, isn't based on any other IP. Like on not even on Kickstarter, the largest website for board games crowdfunded. Instead it's on GameFound, and it's still doing better. How did that happen? And I think it's a lot of reasons, but let's before we kind of discuss why and kind of look at stuff like that, let's go by the numbers, right? So this is day 2 as proof as time of recording here. Day 3 still has a day left to unlock. That's kind of how that works. Day 2 has been revealed though, so they are on their second day now, but just barely. They've actually just reached going on to that. So this is pretty much like 1.5 days worth. We can round up even 1.5 days worth of funding almost 2 million. By comparison, as you saw, Dune raised 1.3 million. And in fact, by their second day here, this is a kid track, it kind of tracks how these campaigns do. They were sitting at about 500,000 on day 2. And if you look at Cyberpunk, everything since Marvel Zombies actually, they only made on that one about 300,000. So they only made about 800,000 with their last 2 campaigns. And so it's just been over doubled by Awaken Realms. How did Awaken Realms, how do we get to this point where not only is Awaken Realms a behemoth, and we'll talk about that, but how is it that Dune that CMON has lowered itself so much? Why is it not doing so? Why is it struggling with all the IP? IP is supposed to do better, right? When Archon Studio starts doing IP, they do better. When companies start doing IP, they do better, right? When we got Witcher, suddenly that company explodes, right? Like that's how this works. Vampires the Masquerade, all of these companies, they get the IP to sell more. So how is CMON doing nothing but IP and selling less? Well, let's discuss. So one of the main things here, and I'm going to spin this positive to Awaken Realms, not negative to CMON here per se, except to, just like in my intro, it reminds me a lot of seeing Mike Tyson, a former giant, a former incredible person at their craft, at what they're doing, right? To just completely get destroyed and lose their title of the best because they got fat and lazy, because they just grew so comfortable in being the best that they stopped trying. And meanwhile, all these other people that are actually trying are actually doing better. So with that said, let's dive into Awaken Realms a little bit here and kind of discuss what's going on here. Now, first of all, this is a sequel to a game. It's not an IP game in that it's their own IP. It's not some mass marketed IP that has had blockbuster Hollywood movies and stuff like that, right? So it's not like Dune in that sense, but it is a sequel to a game that was already did very, very well and reviewed well, which is kind of, I think, the point, because this is a good comparison, because Dune War of Arrakis is kind of a spiritual successor to War of the Ring, which, as you know, is a well-regarded board game, probably. So you probably know, not it probably is. It is a well-regarded board game. So it's very kind of similar, right? Almost like it's in the same season of Kickstarter. It's not like there's been a lot of difference between one or the other. It's been a couple weeks at most, so it's very hot on the heels of that, and so this one is just doing so much better. Not only that, but it's a good price too. The price, if you go to like rewards here, is $99, right? You compare that to Dune here, that was $110, so it's literally cheaper than Dune as well, and doing more, which means they had to sell more copies to get to that amount of money, to get the same amount, because they're selling each copy for less, right? Each backer that actually backs in CMON, we'll get to that too, was put in at least 110, whereas these, the minimum's 99 for the new game. There's add-ons and upgrades for the previous version of the game, but that just kind of muddies the water a little bit. But either way, like, it's very impressive, and it's kind of cool how similar they are and how different they are with the outpouring of support and hard-earned backer money. So how did that claim to be? Well, I mean, if you look at like this, we have 10,155 backers. And here at Dune, we have 11,449 backers. So a lot more here, even though there's technically less for the entry point than there are here, which has more backers. Now, some of that's because there are more expensive reward tiers you can do, right? Like you can do a 209 one, right? That's kind of everything new plus the sun drop. That's like the new stuff right here. Now you can go and get your previous Kickstarter stuff, though I doubt many are actually doing that. See here, 392, 679. That's much lower. This is the most common one, 5,700, followed by 2,200. So the most common is that 99. Compared to Dune here, where the most common is actually this 160, which means that many less people, or that many more people are giving less, and that dollar tier, and that protective, I don't want to commit too much money tier. And CMON also did a thing where they were trying to offer essentially 50% off the RPG if you backed during the campaign. In other words, they're trying to further incentivize not doing the dollar, right? By essentially saying you don't get something otherwise. Whereas Tainted Grail, the only thing they had was this guy right here for early on. Otherwise, there's no difference. In fact, they have a pledge tier that will only be available in the Pledge Manager. So a lot of people are waiting on that. Most of the people here doing the Kings of Ruin core pledge for 99 are waiting until the Pledge Manager to actually add more funds, because they don't offer the boss miniature or the miniature box. Except for the sun drop. They do offer it as an add-on, but less people I think are going to just add that raw at 69. In fact, I don't think it even tells me exactly how many people have backed this one, so I can't tell, which is unfortunate. They should totally add that. I'm going to cover this campaign, plus Heroes of Might and Magic 3 and a whole bunch more here really soon, and talk about some drama around all that. But suffice it to say, like, they're just getting more support. They're just getting more people willing to give them the money, more people willing to commit. And that's really, really impressive. So I think a lot of that is the difference in marketing, the difference in outreach, the difference in how a company acts, right? I think that's really important, how a company acts. For instance, and this is a great example here. This is something that you will never see CMON say. They're far too separated. So both are big companies. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Awaken Realms and by comparison, GameFound, you know, kind of same ownership scheme. Sorry, there was a little fuzz. I didn't mean to slap you there. Hire a lot of people, including expensive like technical developers and stuff like that, right? Like they have many artists on staff and sculptors and game designers and different teams and whatnot. They're both actually fairly big companies. So it's kind of interesting to see just how they interact, though, how they speak, how they communicate to us. Right? So if we come down all the way towards here, this is all your update pack questions answered, right? Which is literally the off day special update number 1. So like kind of right off the bat here. And they say, I did not like Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. Is Fall of Avalon 2.0 for me? They would never even post that question. Nonetheless, answer this way. All right. And then it says, if you overall liked the game, blah, 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 then hey, then most likely yes. The main aim of 2.0 update is to alleviate such gameplay issues, the stuff like too much resource gathering. So right off the bat, I said, hey, maybe you just didn't like this part of it. If so, we probably actually kind of fixed that. However, if you did not like the story, the card-based encounters, or the fact that this is a highly thematic experience with lots of text that requires some patience when played in a larger groups, chances are 2.0 will not be for you. When have you heard CMON suggest that maybe their game isn't for you and you probably shouldn't buy it? The answer is, I am assuming, never. At least it's never for me. It's that sort of, and this kind of really, I think, capitalizes everything, right? I'm not going to dive into Awaken Realms' like votes or community interactions when it comes to all of that, because I don't have an example of the current campaign to do it, so I don't know if they will, though I'm assuming they will. Often they'll craft an entire like expansion for Kickstarter, or for the backers on GameFound that kind of made their own thing. All the way back from Nemesis they were doing this. So they have a long history of just more interaction. Here's I think a very good point, right? So if we look at Dune here, and I mentioned this when I was covering their campaign, how unfortunate this is. So we come here and you scroll down and you're going to see one single video, and a single video with the big word of exclusive on there. In other words, they did a business deal with Jesse from Quackalope to be the only one to have a gameplay of Doom. But not only that, but otherwise they did all of their videos. They did the little live streams and stuff like that. But there's no external reviews of this game besides the few people that they were willing to work with. And then even then, it's not really posted here, right? It's just that, and that's it. So the amount of community support and the amount of stuff for consumers to be able to interact with are very limited with CMON. Whereas if you go from here, you can go to Kings of Ruin reviews. These are just the new ones. And then you have All You Can Board, and you have Shelf Side. I heard his was really good, by the way. My patrons loved your stuff. One Stop Co-op Shop, Quackalope again, but not exclusive. The Broken Meeple. So they have quite a few already just with this. And that's just the ones they posted. That doesn't mean that there's not more coming out and more already there. And then they go and also show their old Fall of Avalon review, which again had a fair amount. In this case, they only post 3 here. So they are limited. It's not the best selection ever, but it's not a single exclusive business contract deal, right? It's actually just people reviewing the game, which is much better community outreach, much better support for the community, and giving more tools for the community to make good decisions and hear about the game. That's also helpful. When a company feels that they need to control everything, especially the output of information like CMON does, it's very limiting. Even people like me who try to share that information with you have to go seek it on their site because I'm not going to hear it any other place. I have to go to CMON to even get it. So if people aren't going to CMON and then they don't go to me, they just don't know, right? So getting your game out there more, getting it played more, being behind it more, not doing any of these kind of exclusive things that hurts consumers, which is what that does. Those exclusive stuff like that hurts consumers. It hurts them. It's not good for you guys. It's not good for me. We get less voices in it, less hands-on, less information. So really, just across the board, they are doing better. They're doing better communicating, doing better at engagement, doing better at outreach, doing better at making a good product and delivering on it, doing good on delivering what they promise. So you'll notice right up here, you do have the stable pledge program. Now, what that means is that when you see the shipping down here, you will not pay any more than 10% of the listed price. That's guaranteed. Otherwise, you can get a full refund. Now, it's easy for them to do that because they own the website, of course, as opposed to Kickstarter, where nobody operating does. And of course, it's a fairly safe bet anyway. They're already offsetting the cost, and they'll continue to do that. But either way, you're seeing great prices, like a $99 game. Right? $99. You're seeing shipping for that big box, a big heavy game that is probably going to be bigger than the Dune box, by the way, at a lower price, both on offer and in shipping, right? So they beat them on price in every single point, and they're guaranteeing that it's a safe back, as opposed to CMON that's struggling with the dollar backers ever since Marvel Zombicide, where they doubled the shipping price after they got everybody and then said you can't get all of your money back. Right. So that is the key here, is that this is, and they're even saying, hey, for the update pack, they're giving you a range there. They're trying to really talk about just, what you're getting into when it comes to a transaction here, what you're getting, what it'll be, what it'll look like. The only thing I could probably say they could improve on this is how to play. They could explain that more. This is a standalone expansion, and not everybody will be, and even if not everybody's aware of how Tainted Grail is. There's always new people, and you want to make sure you accommodate those new people. And in here, while there was a lot of reviews and stuff like that, there's a little bit of a spotlight here. It doesn't go into real big detail on how this game plays. So if you don't know, you might be a little lost. But seriously, they're doing their effort to treat you correctly, to treat you with respect. And that is being rewarded with a lot of money by just making a great product and then offering at a fair price. It's that simple. Just those two things. Great product, great price, and then competence, I guess, right? When it comes to showing it off and then delivering it. You do those three things, you're going to do great. It's as easy as that. CMON has struggled with all of those to some degree or another. And honestly, they didn't have to for a long time. They could throw out any campaign that was going to make over $1 million. But now suddenly they're struggling to even reach that million. And that's with laying heavy into some FOMO tactics and laying heavy into the IP to try and draw more people in. So yeah, it's really kind of interesting to see that. If you have any ideas around why perhaps CMON has lowered their significance in the industry, where they are not the number one top dog anymore. In fact, they may not even be one of the leaders in it after 52 campaigns. Whereas companies like Awaken Realms are doing better than they've ever done before and continue to see success after success after success. I would love to hear. I'd love to have the conversation. With that, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Of course, I'm going to link to Tainted Grail down below. It is live, of course, right now. So 19 days left. So it's a longer campaign as well. And with that, I'll talk to you guys again really, really soon about some drama stuff. There's some corrections or some stuff I haven't covered yet that we're going to talk about that we need to talk about. So, and that's all my current crowdfunding stuff too. So we'll talk about that here real shortly. Take care, guys.